Hello everyone, welcome back to Old Dad's Modeling Mess. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to get rid of those, or how I get rid of those ugly molded and flat handles. Um, and I actually use wire and make real metal ones. I'm using one of my CMK 38T test kits. These kits are really old and messed up in one way or another. So they're great for testing or trying new techniques on. But on this kit here, I do have plans on building it so I can do a side by side comparison with it to the Tristar 38T because I want to see what the difference is. Um, the first thing I do is I will take a pencil and I will outline the handles as you see here, and then I'll shave them off. You can do that however you want to remove them. I normally I use my hobby knife. It just works so good. Normally it leaves a little bit of the pencil on there, and that's what I use to drill my holes out with. I just use the smallest drill bit I have. With this being a small model, I'm using 26 gauge wire, which is 0.4 millimeter, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it is. As you've seen there, I'm using a pair of pliers. You can use your tweezers. The only reason I'm using these pliers for this is the very tip of them is the exact width of the handle on the kit. So I didn't even use my tweezers. I used the pliers to put them in the hole. Uh, yeah, it just the way it worked out. But you can use your tweezers. You can use a photo etch bender like I have there on the desk. Uh, everything, anything. Hell, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could use your hand in just a flat surface that's got a 90-degree bend on it. I mean, you could do that if you really wanted to, but I wouldn't advise it. But as you see, I just use super glue, regular old super glue, nothing fancy. I'm not worried about if I get too much on there or anything like that, so I'm not being all superhuman and dipping it in there and all that stuff, because I'll just use a debonder to get any of the excess off of there, the stuff I don't want. Normally, these handles are kind of welded, so you want a little bit of a build up around the bottom anyway. But this is just to show you how my technique on how I do it. Uh, I will leave the sides of the handle longer, like 3 or 4 millimeters long, just so I can, as you see there, I can use that to adjust it from underneath. On the other side, I have a little bit of an issue because I didn't put enough glue, uh, and so it kept falling down, and I kept having to push it up, and it kept getting all awkward. But I got it in the end, and that's really all that matters. For me, I think doing it this way here gives the model way more detail than just having some basically rubber stamped in piece of crap. Uh, I know they're not exactly to scale or any of that stuff, but for me, in my mind, if I see something like this, I'm like, oh wow, dude, that's neat. That actually, you can see underneath the handles. For the handles, normally what I do, and I didn't do it in here because I was trying to keep this video down to a minimum, is I will take another piece of wire, the big, as you can see there, there's another big thick piece, 20 gauge, and I'll stick that underneath there and I'll push it down to that. Right here, I'm guessing because I just want to make a video so you guys can see this. This will, as I said, this will get done up and it'll look a lot better in the end once it's all done. I just wanted you guys to see how you can do that. Now, up front, they have this thing which I call it a button handle, and it's just like a little dot. And normally it's offset to one side or the other. Here, I'll show you here. Here's a picture of it. I can't stand that. So I'll do the same thing. Except with this, I'm actually going to use the 20 gauge wire, which is, I believe, 0.7 millimeters. It's just a little bit thicker than the 26 gauge. And I cut it in an L shape. And then I will put the open part that's not attached to the door, I'll face that to the furthest away side, just to make it look like, it's got to be beefier and all that, because it's like a half a handle, I guess, if you want to call it that. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but I'm not a fan of those little button handles. To me, I mean, if they were going to do that, just leave it alone and let us fix it ourselves. I put drop of super glue on there. Like I said, I'm not worried about it. I will put some debonder on there and get that fixed. On these here, when I do these handles though, I actually use my hobby knife and I stick the tip of the blade just under it. I want it to be up off the plastic, but not by much, since it's not a normal regular grab handle, if that makes sense. I don't know. Once all this is done though, and you get it painted and you do your weathering and stuff, that's where it's really going to shine, and it's going to make that extra detail just stand out so much more. But as always, guys, thank you for watching my videos. If you enjoy this type of content, please drop a like and a comment below. This really does help me out with the channel and gives me an excuse to spend more money, which the wife doesn't like, but hey, it's all good. The channel has its own Discord. Nothing too special. A channel for hanging out, talking. It's for you guys to drop ideas for builds on the channel. If you know any neat tricks or anything like that, there's a tips and tricks section. There's also a section for you guys to post your own build pictures. So come in, show them things off. And I also have a channel where I post pictures of what I'm working on at the time. It's not in a, hey, I'm going to have so many pictures up on this day or whatever. It's just I post pictures when I can. So I think there's a bunch of the T35 up right now if you guys want to check those out. The link is in the description below. And until the next video, again, thank you, and I will see you. Bye.